unstoppable horde 5 times his own forces. He struck at their weakest point, breaking their lines with surgical precision. He carved an empire across 3 continents, challenging the might of kings and the will of the gods themselves. This is the story of Alexander the Great, the warrior who conquered not just lands, but his own destiny. From birth, Alexander was surrounded by prophecy and whispers of greatness. His mother, Olympias, a fiercely ambitious woman, convinced him he was no ordinary mortal. She claimed that Zeus, king of the gods, was his true father. Her stories fueled young Alexander's belief that he was destined to become something greater than any man before him. Even as a boy, he demonstrated uncanny courage. At 12, he tamed Bucephalus, a horse so ferocious no one else dared touch it. While others saw an impossible creature, Alexander saw an ally. His success with the horse marked him not only as a prince but as a force bound for legend. Yet, behind his bright eyes, there lurked something more, a hunger that would soon consume all who stood in his path. In 334 BC, Alexander, barely 20 years old, crossed the Hellespont, stepping into Persia, a land of unfathomable wealth and armies stretching to the horizon. With just 40,000 men, he dared to challenge a behemoth of an empire. His soldiers were loyal but fearful. They knew this campaign was madness, yet his presence alone stoked their courage. At Gaugamela, he faced Darius III's army, an unstoppable horde 5 times his own forces. But Alexander was no ordinary commander. He moved like lightning, reading the battlefield like a poet reads verse. When the Persians seemed strongest, he struck at their weakest point, breaking their lines with surgical precision. In moments, the massive Persian army collapsed under his relentless charge. It was victory, but at a cost. His soldiers grew weary, grumbling in hushed tones, fearing his ambition would drive them all to ruin. But Alexander's spirit could not be tamed. He was driven not by mere conquest, but by a desire to stand against the gods themselves. As he conquered lands, he began to conquer people's loyalty with equal ruthlessness. Alexander embraced Persian customs, dressing in foreign robes, and declaring himself a divine ruler. Some saw a madman, others a god among men. When his friend Philotas, a trusted general, was accused of treason, Alexander didn't hesitate. Philotas was executed on Alexander's orders, his loyalty now another sacrifice on the altar of ambition. Those closest to him began to fear him, whispering of a man consumed by shadows. Alexander, once a symbol of honor, now stood alone in a world he could barely recognize, a ruler who saw threats in every face, even among his own blood. Alexander's campaign drove him into the heart of India, where he met his most daunting enemy yet, King Porus. This was no ordinary battle. The Indian army unleashed elephants upon Alexander's men, a thunderous sight that struck terror into even his bravest soldiers. The ground quaked beneath them as the elephants charged, massive beasts tearing through ranks as if they were paper. But Alexander was unstoppable. He plunged into the storm, leading his men through impossible odds. They emerged victorious, but it was a hollow victory. The brutal conditions had left his men exhausted, and for the first time, they defied him, begging to return home. Alexander returned to Babylon, but even he could not escape the weight of his own legacy. Weakened by fever and betrayal, he lay on his deathbed at just 32, whispering his empire to the strongest. Some say poison stole his life. Others claim it was the culmination of years of relentless ambition and wounds both seen and unseen. His empire crumbled, divided among generals who could never match his vision. The man who dreamed of uniting the world became a memory. His body lost to time, but his name etched forever in history as the king who dared to dream beyond the limits of mortality. Alexander's life is a lesson as old as time, a cautionary tale of a man who dared to defy fate itself. His relentless ambition shattered empires and created legends, but it came with an unbearable price. He walked a path few could survive, a path filled with moments of glory but also littered with ruins, betrayal, and sorrow. He sought to unite the world but left it fractured. He dreamed of immortality, yet found himself haunted by mortality's shadow. In the end, Alexander's legacy is not just in the lands he conquered but in the question he left behind. What price would you pay to challenge the limits of human ambition?